I'm so excited that this has happened and that you have given me this. I can't. I'm just so excited for what's going to happen. I can't even imagine how this is going to help me. And I want to thank everybody else here that's here that's been supporting me in this process and just for your good vibes and your love. This has been a very wonderful um, supportive group. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Welcome to the Bye Bye Money Blocks Sovereign Mind Workshop. My intention is to help us all connect to exactly what is it within ourselves that's holding us back from that next level of creating money, sustaining that income, i.e., removing any patterns or blocks in the financial situation of making a bunch of money, losing it, making it a bunch of money, losing it, and really just increasing our net level of personal freedom and personal power. And the way that we're going to do that is by discovering and deleting the limiting beliefs that are at the root cause of our relationship to money not looking the way that we want it to. And so, a little bit about me. My name is Gladius Sovereign, and that is a chosen name. I was born Nick Runlet, and in about November of 2022, I've been going through a series of really, really profound life transformations. And I decided to claim my name as Gladius Sovereign. And a little bit about the backstory that leads up to that. When I was a kid, I had a father that showed me love through working really hard in his career, but he didn't have the tool set, the emotional intelligence back in the 90s, back in the early 2000s, at that stage of his life, to love me in the way that I needed to receive it, like with hugs and words of affirmation. So he held me to incredibly high standards, and he would explode at the drop of a hat. There was a lot of anger in my household, a lot of chaos, a lot of instability. And so that caused me to mature like really, really quickly emotionally. So I quickly became like an emotional rock inside of the family, trying to create stability and trying to create support. And along the way, I took on some identities and some limiting beliefs like I'm not good enough. Otherwise, why would I be treated this way? I'm not worthy. I don't deserve love. Otherwise, why would this be happening? And so, just like any child does in an environment that has some fear, some anger in it, um, we create stories and we create beliefs that make sense to us at the time based on the level of development that we're at as children. And the challenge up until now is that those beliefs linger in the subconscious for years and decades until they're very intentionally scooped out. And so, in my personal development journey, which started when I was around 16, by the time I was 18, I started going to therapy. And there were all kinds of useful cognitive behavioral reframes. There was all kinds of useful parts work. And I pursued therapy for many years, and it was helpful. But at the outset of years and years of therapy, I still had the core limiting belief and limiting identity of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm a loser. All of these things were still impacting me in my career, in my businesses that I was starting. I've always been a serial entrepreneur. I've probably started like 5 or 6 businesses, and I consider Sovereign Mind to be my core focus for probably like the next 10 or 20 years. But I'd always been limited in my capacity to love and serve people because I was limited in my capacity to love myself. When there's a core belief in my mind of I don't deserve love, you can see that that would constrict my capacity, right? But the good news is in 2021, I just decided like I'm going to pause everything I'm doing and find a solution to that inner sense of unworthiness. I'm not capable of enduring this emotional pain of feeling unworthy and simultaneously being programmed to achieve my way out of it, which doesn't work. So when I accepted that, I set my intention to find a solution. And when you set your intention firmly, the universe aligns to give you the resources and the opportunities to make that intention a reality. And so I invested in all kinds of different high ticket coaching programs and ayahuasca retreats and did some soul searching for a year. And ultimately, I found a coach who taught me a method to delete limiting beliefs. And when he helped me let go of I am not good enough, it was like a fucking like blowing of the mind. I had no idea that that was even possible to happen over the course of a conversation. So when that happened, I was like, is there any, that was so simple. Is there any reason why I wouldn't just dedicate my life to sharing that experience with as many people as I possibly can indefinitely? And the answer is no. Like, of course I'm going to do that. That lights me up. I love these conversations. I love sharing these experiences. And it's truly a blessing. At this point, I've done at least 313 sovereign mind experiences. I've helped people clear well over 1,000 beliefs. And I consider myself a truth seeker. I advocate for freedom, and I like to serve from a place of love. And that's very special to me because that self-love was not always accessible. It was a time when it was just completely heart walled off, and that's not true for me anymore. It's like, I fucking love doing this. So I'm really glad to be with you guys. And I want to share, this guy literally just joined the call. What a synchronicity. I love Ryan. I want to share a quick success story before we get into the bulk of the presentation here and start discovering and deleting our limiting beliefs together. Ryan is a really potent and successful business coach. And despite cracking that 6-figure threshold, he came into this state where he was suffering from some writer's block and some self-doubt. And so we did one session together and cleared out some really core identity level limiting beliefs that he had known about for a while, but it's like, yeah, I've worked on that. I'm past that. But they kept coming up. They kept coming up. And when we actually let them go, we actually deleted them, he was immediately able to overcome that writer's block, immediately wrote a lead generation tool and closed a high ticket sale and covered the investment of the session. And so little success stories like this are littered throughout the legacy of what I've done. And I could share more of them, but I really just want to get into the meat and potatoes of it. Struggling with stress and overwhelm, trying to grow a team, but felt like I have to do it all alone. I'm not smart enough. I can't do this. And when those beliefs are out of the picture, boom, after one session, able to immediately take action and hire help for the business. So let's get into some of the actual core philosophy that underlies the sovereign mind method. I'm going to let someone in. Yay, Katie, another community member. So one of the first key questions is, how are beliefs actually created in the first place? Well, picture this. A little girl did something trivial. Let's say spilled milk, to make a comedic metaphor. She spilled some milk, and then her father gets emotionally triggered for whatever reason and comes over and scolds her. And in this moment, that little girl is looking into her father's eyes, and she's seeing an angry father while simultaneously she's feeling sadness, tension, anxiety, fear. She's feeling really strong emotions and sensations because it's a scary experience when a little girl is being yelled at, scolded, reprimanded from her father. And so she asks the question, why is this happening? And in that moment, subconsciously, she comes up with an answer. This is happening because I am not enough. And so the sum total of her experience is that she's looking at her father's eyes. She's feeling fear and sadness or shame in her chest. She's feeling tension and heat in her body. And this entire multi-sensory experience gets condensed into her mind with a story. The story of why this is happening. The story is, I am not enough. And in that moment, when she concludes that that's the reason why that's happening, that's what this experience means, that's when she starts believing I am not enough. And then from that moment forward, she continues to see that she's not enough. She continues to feel that she's not enough, because that belief is designed to self-perpetuate. Our beliefs are like a pair of glasses or goggles that shape our perception of reality. And our beliefs don't just live in our minds, they live in our bodies. They don't just make logical sense, they make emotional sense. And so this belief of I'm not enough gets tied to the image of her father's stern eyes. It gets tied to the emotion of fear, and it gets tied to the sensation of tension and heat in her body, in her nervous system. So the core principle that I want to illuminate for you is that seeing is believing. Because she's seeing this image of her father's stern eyes, she comes up with the meaning of why it's happening is I am not enough. And she associates that belief with that image, with that memory, with that image of her father's stern eyes. And feeling is believing. So she's associating I am not enough with the emotion of fear, the emotion of sadness, and the sensation of tension, the sensation of heat. So beliefs make visual and emotional sense. If you just try to process your beliefs logically, you'll make an increment of progress. You can go, I know it's not true. I know that I'm enough. I know that I'm worthy. I know that I'm capable. I know that I'm important. I know all day long. And yet we still feel the limiting belief in our body. And it still shapes how we perceive our daily experiences. So the sovereign mind method at its core equips you with tools to discover what the core limiting beliefs are, which we're about to get to together. Processing the belief logically if it's necessary, and in many cases it's not. In many cases it's like, nah, dude, I know that that's not true, and I'm completely and utterly ready to let it go. Great, you don't need to think about it anymore. Let's actually get to the meat and potatoes, where we process the belief visually and we process the belief emotionally. And so what I want to give you guys today are a series of tools that are going to enable you to detect exactly what your limiting beliefs are. And so we start with something that's really, really, really powerful and deceptively simple called the sense test. And this is going to enable you to instantly feel what limiting belief is present within your system. And so here's the core idea. If a thought has absolutely no power, absolutely no resonance within you, you'll feel nothing when you speak it out loud. And we call that nonsense. So an example of a belief that's total nonsense is, I am a prickly pear skippity-doo dancing. If you say those words out loud, you're not going to feel any emotion, any sensation get triggered in your body. Another example is, I am blue divided by 2 skippy-doo. If you say that out loud, you're not going to feel anything. It's not going to have a sense of truth tied to it, and it's not going to have any triggered emotions or sensations tied to it either. So the first step is to speak the belief out loud, and the next step is to notice if it makes sense or sensation in the body. And that can look like emotions like sadness, anger, and fear. That can be attention. That can be heat, so sensations. There can be a sense of resistance. So for example, someone says, I'm not good enough, and a little voice clicks on in their head and says, fuck that, I am good enough. That's not true. That's not who I am. And it's like, okay, chill. That didn't happen when you said I'm a prickly pear, did it? No. Okay, great. We might be over the target if there's flack, right? Or there can be a logical sense of truth and agreement, like, yes, the world is a dangerous place. I know that is true. That sounds like a fact to me. Or it just seems true, or it looks right, right? So we'll have an opportunity to try out the sense test now, and you'll be able to see for yourself exactly how this stuff works. It's really simple. So first, I invite you all to join me in this exercise. It's actually quite amusing. So what happens, you can stay on mute for now. What happens if you say out loud, I am a quaint rubber ducky? I see some smiles. I see some chuckles. I see some neutrality. So quick raise of hands. How many of you guys felt completely neutral when you said that? All right, we have some neutral. How many of you felt a light sense of humor? Raising hand. Yeah. Some of us a little bit of both. Awesome. Okay. What happens if you say, I can't speak English? Did anyone feel something when they said that? Or is it just kind of like smile, kind of laughter still? Yeah, see some smiles, see some hands raising. All right, one last one. This is a total logical contradiction. I'm blue divided by yellow. Okay, I hope at this point we've driven it home. Notice that there's no deep emotional reaction. There's no like sense of, yep, that's a fact. It's nonsense. It doesn't make any sense to you logically or emotionally. And now I invite you to try this one on for size. What happens if you say out loud, I am not enough? I'm curious if anyone is open to sharing. Was there any emotion that came up for you? Any sensation? Maybe a sense of agreement? You can drop it in the chat if you like, or just nod. Appreciate the authenticity, guys. So try some more of these. Try whichever one stands out to you as like, huh, that might be uncomfortable to say, and see what happens. Just out of pure curiosity of what might happen. Yeah, Ayana says my chest got tight. Isha, heaviness in the heart. Thank you, guys. Tanu, a sensation through the chest and belly. And as you try some more of these on for size, what's coming up for you? Brent, some relief mixed with a little frustration. Chills. Yeah. And so who here is noticing that different beliefs are tied to different emotions and sensations in the body? Just raise your hand. Who can see that? Who can feel that? Yeah. Isn't that amazing? They feel totally different. And that's because in some sense, they're tied to completely different belief systems, completely different past experiences that we're holding on to, where we felt completely different emotions and completely different sensations. And so what's really, really fascinating is that two people can have a different emotional experience of the same belief. So say for Amanda, for example, maybe one of them is tied to some heaviness and sadness. But for Tanu, that exact same belief, same spelling down to the letter, is tied to chills that go up her spine. And so by speaking the words of the belief out loud, that's how you instantly know whether or not it's there for you. You can't fool your body, your senses. It's either there or it's not. And the good news is, who here read some of these and felt absolutely nothing? So at least one of these and just had no charge to it. Beautiful. That's not your story. That's not something that's holding you back in particular. It's fascinating, right? Like, oh, I'm so totally fucking worthy, but I'm not enough. It's like, or vice versa, right? It's truly amazing how the mind works with this stuff. And so we're just going to pay close attention to which ones seem or which ones feel real as we do the next group exercise. And so we can discover limiting beliefs through two primary approach vectors. One is the mind and one is the body. And in this training, we're going to go through one of the most useful tools to approach our limiting belief system through the mind, and that's sentence completions. I'm actually going to skip this part. This is just another opportunity to do the sense test on a whole bunch of different beliefs. Sentence completions. So the core idea here is I invite you to grab a pen and paper. If you don't have one, you can use the Notes app on your phone, or you can use the Notepad app on your computer. But pen and paper, there's something special about it. You're going to write 6 to 12 spontaneous, unfiltered responses or completions to the sentences that are bolded above. And so the first example, if I fail, comma, it means dot, dot, dot. And you can see below some of the things that might possibly come up, but just let your subconscious reveal to you, if I fail, it means I'm incapable, I'm a loser, blah, blah, blah. And just see what comes up. Approach it with curiosity. And there's more, right? So if in order to feel a scarcity mindset like me, someone would have to believe dot, dot, dot. In order to be in a financial situation like me, someone would have to believe dot, dot, dot. And so by all means, take your time with this one. I'm going to stay on mute for a few minutes while you guys just enjoy the exercise and discover some cool shit. I see pens buzzing. It's beautiful. Just give one more minute. All right. So I would love to have a brief dialogue with you guys about what came up for you that surprised you. What came up for you that you always knew was kind of rattling around in there, and it's just like, yep, son of a gun. Love to invite you to come off mute and just share a little bit about what came up for you and what that experience was like for you.
I won't be shy.
Yeah, Katie, thanks for getting us started. What's up?
Oh, it's so fun. Sorry I was late. Thank you for letting me on still.
Mhm.
So if I fail, it means I didn't try hard enough. In order to feel scarcity like me, someone would have to believe anything is possible. That was a different take on it.
Mhm.
Because I don't feel like I have a scarcity mindset.
Yeah, interesting.
In order to be in a financial situation like me, someone would have to believe I'm an idiot.
Aha. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, it's cool how like not all beliefs are negative, not all beliefs are limiting. We can have positive and empowering beliefs. Anything is possible. Sounds good to me. Yeah, but what's also funny is that could have multiple meanings to multiple people. But um, I saw Bo come off mute. What you got, Bo?
All right. So the first one, if I fail, I thought it would mean I didn't try hard enough. I didn't have the right answers, and I kind of work weird. I'm motivated by spite. Um, and if I fail, that means my ex wins. So that's my
Ah,
number one motivator right there. I'm like, fuck no, it's not happening. Nope, I'm winning. There's no losing
I like
because she's not winning. Fuck her. Um, I didn't really have anything for the second one. Um, but the third one's where it kind of hit me because I think I had what really got me was I don't monitor what matters. So I don't
hmm.
monitor my finances enough like I should.
Yeah.
So I mean that's the only one I could really come up with on that. But that was like, damn, I really need to get on that.
Beautiful self-awareness, man. I love that. And it's interesting, I was listening to Alex Hormozy in one of his new YouTube videos, and he was like, motivation through fear and through the whip is extremely powerful. It can get a lot done. The problem with it is that it's not sustainable. It's intrinsically taxing on the nervous system. And so if you want to go fast, if you want to go quickly, fear motivation is great, run from the gazelle or run from the lion. But sustainable motivation through love, through passion, through purpose, through intention is ultimately what we seek to create. But I love that you love it, which is, everyone's unique. That's really cool to see and share. Thank you. One or two more. Does anyone have a desire to share? Nicole?
Yeah, I'll go. So definitely some doozies with the financial situation one. And then interestingly though, I don't necessarily feel scarcity as far as except for my financial situation. Overall, I feel a lot of resources and abundance and gratitude.
Mhm.
But in relationships, there were some things around, I feel some scarcity around friendships in certain ways. And so there was definitely like um, like in order to feel scarcity like I do, someone would have to believe that people don't come through for me, or that I can't count on people, or that I always have to carry the relationship. And so that was definitely interesting. And then also around failure, something that was kind of fun was that my immediate beliefs that popped up were um, if I fail, then I'm terrible, then I'm embarrassed, I'm humiliated. And then almost what organically came up immediately after that was, no, if I fail, it's no big deal. If I fail, I just try something new. If I fail, that's okay. At least I tried. If I fail, then that's great because I tried. And so that's something I've been really working on. So it's nice to see some of those shifts, even as I also have kind of the negative lingering in there.
Beautiful. And I love that. Thank you for sharing, Nicole. Who else found that through doing the exercise that we both have positive and negative beliefs? Wonderful. Yeah. I saw Evander break out a very curious smile. You're on mute. Do you feel care to share? Okay.
Do I unmute myself?
Yeah, you got it.
I wasn't sure if you had us all muted or if it was me. Yeah, no, mine were pretty heavy. Like I wrote pages, like, and
Good.
I didn't realize how much, yeah, I didn't realize how much was going to come out. So I'm laughing because I'm like, holy cow. I mean, I'm very emotional right now. But yeah. So like if I fail, it means that they, like my parents and my ex, were right. That I definitely like resonated with that. And then like with the scarcity of like I'll never get ahead. But I only had like two, like with the scarcity, which was interesting, but like then that I won't be able to do it again, which I'm not really sure what that means, but that's kind of. And then on the last one that's kind of surprised me is that I wouldn't be a good parent if I was successful. So
Certainly worth exploring. Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I mean, the rest of them were like unworthiness, it being taken away, not being capable, things like that. But anyway, it just felt really like heavy. I'm like, holy cow, all this. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, thank you for your authenticity and for your vulnerability. Really appreciate it. And it's not at all uncommon when you're first exploring the belief system for it to just rush out at you and be like, hello,
Yeah.
I'm here. Please let me go. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank all of you. Was that helpful? How many of you found something that was surprising and useful? Yeah, lots of hands up. Awesome. Love that. All right. So, well, now the obvious question is like, what do I do with this? And I'm super thrilled to share a solution with you. It's called the Sovereign Mind Method. And this is the part of the training, the conversation where we get to go into a live demonstration. And so, Donnie, would you still like to be our volunteer today to drop one of your limiting beliefs?
Absolutely.
Amazing. All right. So before we jump into that, I'd love to do some container setting to just add to the emotional safety and comfort of everyone here. And so I wonder if everyone here is open to setting a collective or shared intention of really being present, of really loving, opening our hearts, and supporting the process. Who here feels comfortable with that intention? Yeah, thank all of you so much. Really appreciate it. And with that intention set, safety ensues. And what I'd love to do is also reset the energy. We all just felt some heavy energy. And so I invite you to join me in 3 intentional yawns. And the intention of each of the yawns is to just let go of the energy, any stuck energy that could be still in your system from accessing those limiting beliefs. And so I invite you to stretch your arms overhead with me and just let a big old yawn rip. And it doesn't matter if it's real or fake, it's the thought that counts. And so I invite you to let out yawn number 2. Oh, that was a good one. And 3rd time's the charm, at your own time, own pace. Yawn number 3. All right. Cool. Who here is feeling a little more grounded, a little more settled after that? Wonderful. All right. Let's just dive right into loving and supporting Donnie, keeping hearts open. Thank you all so much for joining us in this experience. And now, Donnie, I'm all yours. And I really thank and appreciate you for being here, brother.
I appreciate the opportunity very much.
So are you open to sharing a little bit about what you shared with me in your email about the belief and sense of being worthless that you'd like to take a look at letting go of today?
Yeah, so to summarize what I said there for everyone else here on the meeting. So within the last couple of years, especially, I've been on a path of self-discovery and just kind of I went through a divorce, and that kind of kicked off just a time of introspection and internal inventory. And one thing that I've identified is just a deeply held sense of worthlessness. And I even went to counseling, and that was really kind of the question that I had going into it. What is wrong with me? And I'm 42, have a kid. I did have a good childhood, good parents. So there's nothing abuse related or anything like that, but it's just this sense that has stuck with me over the years, and it comes and goes, to different degrees, but it's always been there. And I've also in this recent past couple years, I've also done, in addition to counseling, just read self-help books, things like this to try to like practicing gratitude, thinking about things throughout the day that happen and just being thankful for them, and reciting mantras to myself. And one in particular that I repeated to myself every day, multiple times a day, was I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. And there were many times when I was just driving to work in the morning, and I would say that to myself, and it would just bring me to tears because it felt so foreign.
I know exactly what that is like.
And even just a moment ago, when you flashed up on your on the screen, and asked how we felt for a series of phrases, and the first one is I'm not enough. I didn't even have to say it. I just read it and immediately felt an extreme weight in my chest, and my throat felt like it was just completely closed up. I don't know if I could speak right then at that moment, and I'm having trouble speaking right now.
Yeah. Brother Donnie, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for your authenticity. And I invite you to just take a few deep breaths and allow your body to reset. I'm sending you my love and sending you my appreciation for being here. And so we know that that's a strong one, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, How intense does that sensation of not enough feel to you? A 10 is like unbearable, uncontrollable. A 1 is like, did a fly just land on my elbow? I don't even know.
I'm going to leave some room for something more intense and say maybe an 8.
Yeah. Needless to say, a really, really strong, powerful sensation. Okay. So just take your arms above your head and give like a sharp inhale, just like, and let it go sharp. And one more. And you can bring your arms down. Thank you. So we discussed the sense of feeling worthless, and you can see that naturally when you're doing belief discovery work, some other adjacent beliefs and belief systems will often also come into the picture. And I'm curious, for the purpose of this experience, would you like to let go of that sense of being worthless?
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, the first question I have for you, and this is really the beginning of the process, is what does it feel like to say that out loud? I am worthless.
It feels incredibly just painful and hopeless. Yeah.
And where do you feel that painful, hopeless sensation in your body? Is it in your neck, in your chest?
It's primarily my throat and my chest. Yes.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how intense does that feel? Maybe like a 7?
I would say so, yes.
Okay. And just notice again that slightly different sensations. It's not the same as I'm not enough. It's actually a completely separate, distinct belief that has its own emotional charge and weight carrying it. So that's our baseline. And at the end of this conversation, Donnie, saying I am worthless is going to feel like saying I'm a pancake. It's not going to have any charge. It's not going to have any pull or weight over you. And so now we get into the actual method and process itself. And the first magic question I'd love to ask you is really search within yourself, Donnie. Is there any part of you that doesn't want to let that go for any reason?
No, it's caused me a lot of grief, and I am absolutely ready to let it go. 100%.
Heaven, yes. Okay. Well, just so that folks are aware, I'm going to weave education throughout this demonstration so that you can take away the principles that underlie the method at each step. So we ask that question, are you truly ready to let it go? Is there any part of you that's not ready to let it go? Because ultimately, beliefs can serve as a security blanket for your inner child. And so even though it served a useful purpose 10, 20, 30 years ago when it was first created, it provided a sense of safety. It provided a sense of identity. It provided a sense of purpose. Whatever the intention behind creating the belief ultimately was, the inner child by default doesn't let go of that belief, doesn't let go of that security blanket until you ask. Even if it smells terrible, 30 years later, it's outlived its useful purpose, right? So oftentimes, when you ask that question, is there any part of me that's not ready to let this go for any reason? You will get a yes response. And there's a little 7-year-old inside of you that's like, no, don't let that go. That keeps us safe. We need that in order to survive. In which case, we love that part. We welcome that part with curiosity and compassion, and we seek to understand why it's important to hold on to that belief. We reason with that part of ourselves, and we help it see that it actually is safe to let it go. Donnie's fortunate in that and this is shared in many, many processes, that no, dude, I'm just ready. Every part of me is ready. And so letting it go is actually going to be pretty quick and easy. So yeah, let's go with it this way. Take a look at your hand, Donnie. Doesn't matter which one.
Okay.
These questions are not meant to insult your intelligence. They're meant to illuminate the simplicity of the truth. The first question I have for you is, do you see your hand?
I do.
Okay. Do you see I am worthless anywhere on your hand?
No, sir.
Okay. Are you sure?
Let me check the back.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and check the back. It's not there either. Okay.
Not,
All right. It's probably not on your body. Go ahead and look in the room, in the world around you. Do you see I am worthless anywhere in your environment?
no,
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Okay, that's cool. I believe you. Have you ever seen I am worthless in your past?
No, I don't. No, no.
Did you really look? Is there any experience that stands out to you? Any memory, any image in your mind's eye that means to you, I am worthless?
I suppose it wouldn't be a singular interaction, but yeah,
And if you're
there
open to
are-
sharing, describe that for me. What's that pattern of experiences that seems like I am worthless to you?
well, I guess kind of working backwards chronologically. My ex-wife, just some of the criticisms that I got there in that relationship.
Yeah. Thank you. So let's pause and focus on that image for a little bit. If you close your eyes and you look back through that experience of receiving your wife's criticism, just let me know when you're connected to that experience. You can see it. So here's a
Okay.
simple question. Do you see your wife speaking, or do you see I am worthless?
I see I am worthless.
Bing. So this is what we call a key image. This is an image in your mind that to you means I am worthless. So what does it actually look like? Do you see her angry face? Is she yelling? What's going on?
It's sometimes angry, sometimes just a look of disgust, maybe.
Bingo. So take a look at that look of disgust. And imagine this. Imagine we took a snapshot of that look of disgust from your wife and we put it next to another image where she's angry, and we put both of those images up on a New York Times Square billboard. And then 186,000 people glanced at that image of her look of disgust and her look of anger. Would all of those people spontaneously become worthless always and forever just because they saw that image?
No,
Oh, okay, that's good news. So, in truth, just because you see a glance from that woman, does it mean I am worthless?
no, it doesn't.
Ah, okay. So now when you look at it, Do you see a woman looking at you, or do you see I am worthless?
See a woman looking at me.
Aha. And do you see what we just did there? The difference. I notice you tearing up. I imagine there's an emotional release for you.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
My honor, my blessing, my joy, my purpose. And so I want to pause there and explain. And Donnie, feel free to breathe, do what you got to do. I'll take a minute and share with the folks exactly what just happened. Skipping into the presentation. So here's the idea, folks. Seeing is believing. And all of our limiting beliefs are tied to specific images and memories in our mind's eye. And the metaphor I love to use is Santa. So once upon a time, we all believed in Santa. We had a core belief. Santa is real. And we knew that was true because we saw Santa, and seeing is believing. And so look, there's Santa. 100%. That's Santa all day long, until at some point in our life, we realize someone spoils the story for us. Actually, you don't see Santa Claus, you see a dude in a costume. And from that moment forward, once that shattering realization is made of what you actually truly saw, I didn't see Santa Claus, I saw a dude in costume, the belief in Santa is deleted. Whoop. Shoot. Okay, that's what I did here. Great. So that's the underlying principle, is that you don't actually see the belief itself anywhere in your past. You don't see, for example, nobody likes me inside of the image. In truth, you don't see the belief. You see the experience that's happening. You see, in this particular case, instead of the belief nobody likes me, you can see 3 kids pointing and laughing. And so the real magic question in this case is, have I ever actually seen this belief with my own 2 eyes? And the God honest answer is no, 100% of the time. It's not possible to see that meaning dangling around in 3-dimensional space, because ultimately we created the interpretation of what we saw. And once we created that meaning, we projected it onto the experience. So have I ever actually seen that I'm not enough? No. Have I ever actually seen that I'm not worthy? No. So you look back through all the memories tied to the belief, and there will be multiple, especially when you're doing core beliefs that stretch back a long time. And so Donnie and I are going to continue in that process. The point is to try to find it and fail. Realize that it's not there. It was never there. And be honest with yourself. If you see an image of someone looking at you a certain way, does that mean that you're not capable? No. If you see numbers on a bank account on your laptop screen, does that mean I am broke? No, not intrinsically. It does if you choose it, but not intrinsically, not in truth. And in truth, what you saw 100% of the time is an experience. And all that remains of that experience is an image in your mind's eye that you call a memory. And so to illustrate the point even further, going back to our little girl, did she actually see I'm not enough? Or did she see her father's stern eyes and face? She didn't see I'm not enough. She saw the way her father looked at her one time when she was 7 years old. That's what she truly saw. Do you see nobody likes me, or do you see 3 kids pointing and laughing? You just saw what you saw. You saw the experience. Do you see I'm not smart enough? Or do you see the letter F on a piece of paper? You just see the letter F on a piece of paper. And that's always, 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 always the case. There's no exception. You see the experience. You don't see the belief. In every single experience in your entire life didn't actually mean that you're not worthy. And if you look closely and you ask yourself, did I ever actually see that I'm not worthy? Did I see that I'm not enough? The God honest answer is no, I didn't see that. And when you fully break the meaning out of the image, that image no longer means I'm not worthy, I'm not capable, I'm not enough, etc. You become free from the belief at the visual level, and you experience an emotional release from it because you're no longer carrying that meaning in your eyes. So, back to you, Donnie. My question for you now is, if you look back closely through your earlier memories, have you ever actually seen I am worthless? And if you want to say yes, that's totally okay.
Well, I can think of interactions with people where I have disappointed them or whatever with my make a mistake or did something that I wasn't supposed to do or whatever. Things like that come to mind, but
Yeah.
no, I don't think that means what I think it means. It just those are interactions. Some of them certainly my fault, and some of them may have been just a poor timing or whatever, and a harsh reaction. So no, to answer your question, no, I don't think so.
Beautiful. Okay. And just to illustrate the point even further, it's like if I tell you, hey, I remember I have 2 sticks of gum in my pocket. I'm going to eat one. Do you want one too? And I take out my gum from my pocket. I only have 1 stick and I eat it. And I go, sorry, dude. I actually only had one. And for a moment in time, you feel some disappointment. Does that make me worthless forever?
No.
So just because you have an interaction with another human being and they experience an emotion called disappointment, does that mean I am worthless?
No.
Cool. That's really good news. Okay, great. And so I'll ask again, as you look back through your past, did you ever truly see I am worthless?
There was one time with my mom in particular that just really is seared into my memory. When I was dating a girl that she didn't like, and that was a pretty painful time for me too. But yeah, I remember that moment very clearly.
Thank you. And total love and respect for the younger version of you that went through that difficult experience and felt some really strong emotion with it. And if you take your current self with all the wisdom that you've gained, the strength of your heart, and you look back closely through that experience, do you actually see I am worthless anywhere on your mom's shirt?
No.
No. Do you see it on her hair?
No.
If we're honest, do you see it anywhere in that picture?
Not in any written sense, just the expression on her face was what communicated that to me, or how I interpreted that, I suppose. But no, it was not.
Yeah.
It was not there in
Yeah.
in a literal sense.
And just for the sake of serving you thoroughly, when you look at that face of hers, just because you saw that face, does it mean I am worthless?
No.
Are you sure?
I am sure. Yes.
Great. Okay, cool. Excellent. Well done. Okay. And have you ever seen I am worthless at any point in your life?
No, I haven't.
I believe you. Great. Well done. And how is your experience now in this moment? How are you feeling at this part of the process?
Like my chest and my throat have just opened up. Like I'm free. Like I'm saying this in my head. I'm not enough. I'm worthless. And just that sensation that I had just a few minutes ago, which was crippling. I don't feel any attachment to it. I don't feel any weight. It's just, it's gone.
Heaven, yes. Lovely. Well, there's one more part of the process, and there's a question that I have for you, which is, have you ever felt worthless?
I ever felt worthless. Yes.
Totally. I'm not going to spoil this for you. I'll just take you through the experience. Can you tap into what that felt like, that sense of being worthless, and really just connect to it and welcome it with love, with curiosity, and let me know when you're present with that sense of worthless.
Okay.
How would you describe this sensation in your body? What do you feel and where?
It's a weight on my shoulders.
Yeah. Okay. But just be present with that weight on your shoulders. And here's a question. I love using metaphors. Let's say, do you have a kid by chance?
Yes.
Boy or girl?
Boy.
Let's just imagine for a moment that your sweet little boy woke up one day and for no apparent reason, just randomly, he felt some weight on his shoulders. And he was like getting ready to go play some sports, hang out with some guys. And he was just like, this is annoying. What's going on? I feel weight on my shoulders. Dad, I'm getting kind of annoyed by this. I feel this weight on my shoulders. Can I go like get a quick checkup at the doctor or something like that? You're like, yeah, absolutely, buddy. I got you. Let's get you taken care of. You go over to the doctor's office and there you're waiting in line and the nurse calls you in. And the nurse says, so honey, what's your symptoms? And your son's like, it's really weird. I got this weight on my shoulders. It won't go away. It's just there. It just feels heavy, you know? The nurse is like, okay, yeah, no problem. I'll give that symptom list to the doctor. You got weight on your shoulders. And, okay. Goes out of the room for a few minutes, and a few minutes later, the doctor comes in. And the doctor has got a grim look on his face. He's like, Mr. Brandt, I must regretfully inform you that because your son has some heaviness on his shoulders, unfortunately, he's worthless. Forever. There's no cure. He's fucked. I'm sorry. Would you believe the doctor?
Not a chance.
No. Okay. Okay, well, that's great. So just because someone feels some heaviness on their shoulders, does that actually mean that they're worthless?
No, no.
Not at all. So go ahead and focus your attention on that sensation of heaviness that's on your shoulders, that weight, and let me know when you got it.
Okay.
Great. Now ask yourself this magic question. Does this sensation mean I am worthless?
Not at all.
Oh, are you sure?
I'm sure.
Lovely. And notice, does that feel disconnected? The words from that sensation.
It does. Yes.
Interesting. Good news, folks. It's not possible to feel worthless. We feel emotions and sensations in the body. And so, Donnie, when you were feeling that heaviness on your shoulders, were you feeling worthless or were you feeling heaviness on your shoulders?
You guys just feeling heaviness on my shoulders.
Oh, thank God.
It's a miracle.
Heaven, yes. But it's so simple and it's so obvious when we slow down the busy rush of our day-to-day experience and question that core assumption. Am I feeling not enough right now? Wait a minute. What am I actually truly feeling? I feel contraction in my heart and I feel sadness behind my eyes. Does that contraction in my heart and sadness behind my eyes mean that I'm not enough? No. Oh. Oh. Huh. I feel lighter now. Look at that. So search within yourself, Donnie. Is there any other emotion, any other sensation that still feels tied to I am worthless?
There's nothing that I can identify right now.
Funny that you use that word. Sense into it, Donnie. This is a little bonus step in the process. Have you ever identified with that belief in the past?
Oh, yes.
Totally. Would you like to disidentify with it now?
Absolutely.
Okay. This one's a very simple declaration. And so I invite you to declare out loud, I now choose to disidentify with the belief I am worthless.
Now choose to disidentify with the belief that I am worthless.
And what are you noticing?
Sense of confidence.
Hmm.
Yeah. Mm.
And so now, Donnie, what happens if you say, I am Willy Wonka-less?
I don't really want the list. Nothing, just silly.
Cool. What about I am Squirthless?
Nothing.
Cool. And from a place of neutral curiosity, what happens if you say, I am worthless?
I am worthless. Nothing.
Ivan, yes, way to go. Cheers for Donnie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Truly, what a blessing to be able to share. Thank you. So I want to switch my camera view back to be able to see all of you. So I'd love to hear either in the chat or feel free to come off of mute. What are you taking away from that experience? What are you realizing? What are you aware of that you weren't aware of previously? Don't you rush all at once now.
I'll jump in here for you. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Go for it.
obviously, I've done a lot of sessions with you, Gladius. I've probably done 10 sessions with Gladius now, maybe not that many, but 5+. And it's been very, very transformational. Can't recommend it enough. But being in this session, I've still taken away more information, and it's just really reiterating the fact that there's a separation between the beliefs we hold and actuality. Whatever happens, we then form belief systems based on that, but they're not inherently true. We choose to believe in them or we don't. And it's a choice. So we're separate from our thoughts, we're separate from our emotions. We get to choose what they mean. And we're at a place of choice and within agency the whole time. So I think you articulate that beautifully. I really appreciate that. And just listening in on this call. I had my camera off because I was eating lunch, but Donnie, you did some great work. Well done, brother.
Yeah, thank you for that, Alex. And that's why I love calling it the sovereign mind method. Like, we're always at choice. We are the creators of our personal experience of reality. We're in control and we choose what everything means to us, including everything we see, including everything we feel, and every belief is a choice. It's a core part of what it means to be a sovereign mind. So thank you. Tanu's taken away that seeing is believing. Roger that. Very cool. So
I'm
quick
taking
show.
away that I need to make use of the A word, Airtable. To track my stuff because
Yeah.
you know Hung. He uses Airtable to track his business, and I thought that was rather impressive because I just thought it was for personal side of things. And I'm like, I really don't need this, really don't have time for that. But that third question you asked, I forgot what it was. But just I'm not monitoring what matters with my business. And I can't tell you exactly what each location made last month, and if it made money or lost money, because I'm not tracking it like I should be. And it was just like a punch in the gut, like, damn, I need to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's powerful awareness, and it's a cool illustration. Thanks for that, Bo, of how beliefs directly translate into behavior. So the belief is actually the core structure within the psyche that generates specific thoughts and emotions. And then we take action based on those emotional impulses. And so if, for example, there's a sense of I'm not enough, and that's the lens through which we're seeing our experience, and that's the feeling that we're having in our body, we're going to shrink away, we're going to contract, we're going to withdraw from opportunity, from romance, from business opportunity, etc. If there's an underlying program and sense of I am enough, that's heart opening. There's expansion there. We'll naturally be drawn towards taking action. So thank you, Bo, for that reflection as well. And Nicole, if you'd like to ask a question about the demo, feel free.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I think it's semi-related. It's what was coming up for me as I was watching the demo. So then I guess it's related. So I have done, first of all, I'm loving this. I think it's so great. And I've done a lot of belief work and been on a journey around this. And so as I look at certain core beliefs that I had about, like, say, I'm not enough, or some of those, my core one was I am disgusting. And so that used to like really have a hold on me. And now, yeah, it feels like a little nonsensical statement at skippity doo. And my belief about money is money isn't for me, or it's not for me. That's not for me. And I think as you were taking him through the exercise, and I was thinking about some of my past experiences way back from childhood, I think my inner voice was saying, like, no, I do see that money isn't for me. I see this scenario. And also, if this would better point to a one-on-one session, that's totally great. So just let me know. But but yeah, so what was coming up for me was like these memories around like, no, I see that from a very little girl age, money was not for me. And so it's coming up as, no, I do see that. That does, I again,
Mhm,
just that
mhm.
internal voice is saying, yes, it is true. And even what's also coming up is like, for example, I know that I cannot run a 4-minute mile. I know that is true. And I can either feel bad about it or good about it or neutral about it, but it's just like that is so. And so that's kind of where, and I know intellectually, I know that it's not true that money is not for me, but that's how this process is landing for me, that my inner voice is saying like, no, 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 these experiences are validating this belief that I have. And
Totally.
it's still really sticky. So I'm curious if you can speak to that.
That word is the exact word that I use in my sessions. When there's a
Yeah.
sticky attachment, there's some tools and tricks that we can deploy in order to loosen it, and it becomes actually easy to let it go. And there's a couple of possibilities. One is that there might be some part of you that actually doesn't feel safe or comfortable letting that go. And so the magic question to reveal that is, hey, is there any part of me that doesn't feel totally ready to let this go for any reason? And you might get a yes back. And if so, then, there's some self-love with that part of your being that's holding on to that belief, seeking to understand it with curiosity that can be done, and helping it see that it's safe to let it go now. Often these parts in our subconscious are trapped at the age that we created the belief. So there's a 6-year-old in there, there's a 10-year-old in there, there's a 17, a 25-year-old, whatever. And so updating that part, bringing it into the present moment and helping it see that it's safe now to let it go, and that this belief is actually no longer serving the positive purpose that it once did. That's my approach. And then what you'll find is that when there's no part holding on to it, suddenly, did I actually see it? No. Oh, that was easy. There's no part of me resisting, right? So yeah, I'd be more than happy to shoot you a message in school and talk about doing a session with you if you'd like that.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I think that you're absolutely right. I think as I ask myself that question, that part says, yes, we need to hold on to that belief, because otherwise we'll get our hopes up and be disappointed. And. So there's absolutely a part of me that feels like that is an important belief to hold on to.
Right. And
So helpful.
Thank you for illustrating that. And it's serving a positive, protective purpose at this point to that part. And so when we talk to that part, we seek to understand it, we embrace it with love, and we bring it into the present. It'll be like, okay, Nicole, I got you. Yeah, I see that we don't need it anymore. And then it'll be fine. So yeah, thank you. Great
Awesome.
question.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So I'm curious, like Nicole, can anyone see themselves benefiting from having more of these experiences? Yeah, Amanda, Alicia, Alex, Heaven, yes. Cool. Well, I'd love to share with you what that could look like. I've actually got a really cool offer for you guys, and it's really quite simple. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I originally invested about $25,000 to learn about belief transformation work. And my intention is to make this technology and make these experiences accessible to as many people as humanly possible. And so what I've done is I've created a coaching / courses / community, and I call it the Sovereign Mind Experience. And we live inside of the school platform. And we've got a really tight-knit group. We've got about 40 members so far of folks who are dedicating this chapter of their lives to discovering and removing the limiting beliefs that are holding them back using the Sovereign Mind method. Wes says, big changes in my life. Don says, amazing results in under an hour. I love sharing this with people. And as you can see for yourself, our friend today, Donnie, is no longer struggling with that sense of being worthless. And I've created some courses to help discover what the limiting beliefs are at the root of the patterns that are holding us back, not just in the realm of finance. Yes, there are courses on that, but also our sense of change, our sense of love and self-worth, our sense of power, imposter syndrome, fear of responsibility, our sense of trust, our sense of safety, There's tons and tons and tons of different belief systems that you can apply this technology to. And then we've got a flagship course around the Sovereign Mind method, where you can actually learn and master the method for yourself. Beyond all of this, we actually host live weekly trainings. This is what we do every single week. We come together, we free ourselves from our limiting beliefs together, we build repetitions and practice so that we can stay on the course of dropping the old stories and the old identities that no longer serve us. And so we let go of stories like I'm not enough, I'm not worthy. We let go of stories like I'm worthless, I'm not capable on these calls every single week. And so instead of investing 25K like I had to, I offer this experience and the courses and the community and these trainings every single week for just $97 a month. So it's a monthly membership. And the intention behind that, again, is to make it accessible, is to make it so that you do have some skin in the game and you actually show up for these trainings and show up for the calls. And I'll drop a link if you'd like to join us. If you could see yourself benefiting from learning how to just delete, release, let go of limiting beliefs, I would love, love, love to continue being of service to you through trainings like this and have you be a part of the community. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the link to join us if you feel called in the chat. But boom. So once you sign up, I'll go ahead and send you an invite to the school community. And you'll see that we run these trainings on a weekly basis. I'll go ahead and share my screen. We actually have 2 trainings a week, one for facilitators and coaches and one for just everyone in the community to come together. So this is what the training schedule looks like. We meet at the same time and same day, so it looks like you're a good fit as far as timing for the weekly calls if you'd like to join us. So that's pretty much all I got to say, guys. You just had your first Sovereign Mind experience. Thanks for being here.
Wanted to share really quick. I know we have like a minute left. Is that okay?
Yes. Yeah, by all means.
So I remember my I wanted to die day after I had court, and like my whole body was hot and sweaty, and like we went through that whole like I'm not safe limiting belief. Well, I went to court because I don't think I've seen you since I went to court the second time. And I won against his lawyer, and I had like none of that showed up, and it was priceless. And I didn't have a lawyer, like I was my own lawyer, and it was like, oh, eat that. Like, you can't scare me. I am safe. Like, I was able to show up for myself. So thank you so much. This has been, I apologize for missing the last couple weeks. It's been a little crazy, but it's worth
Thank you, Katie.
all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth all of it 100,000 times over. Thank you for sharing your story. Yeah, Alfredo, Chris, I'm curious if you guys feel called to share, maybe Aubin, about what your experience has been like so far dropping these things.
Yeah, I highly, highly recommend. I think it's, I mean, just the price alone is kind of ridiculous in my opinion.
It's not going to stay 97 forever. We're going to stop that once we reach 100 members.
Yeah, because like I'm a practitioner as well, and I've gone through like me and Gladius have actually gone through similar like training and stuff, and yeah, this stuff is like how he's put it together is probably one of the simplest ways you'll see it, right? Like I've been through a lot, and there's like other things with this stuff is like there's hours and hours, and like you actually don't necessarily know. It's just all over the place. This is just like boom, 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 and I mean you saw it too, right? That's like that's it. I mean, if you want to, you can spend a lot of extra time going through more complicated processes, or you could do this. So that's my input. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Love you so much.
Welcome, man.
Yeah, I'd agree. I just give another plug for you, Gladius. This really translates into radically different action in people's lives. Gladius didn't ask me to come here on here and say this. I just really believe in the work so much. Like I was stuck in inaction for months, like inspired to go do something. Fear that I couldn't pull it off pulls me back. And then it's just like this ratcheting back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for months on end. I worked with Gladius for like a week and a half. Massive action. Start a men's circle, book a retreat, start a new coaching business, launch a new offer. Like all of these new changes just in action, moving in the right direction, doing the things that I'm inspired to do. And not doing them from a place of ego, but like doing them from a place of truth, connection to self, and saying, what do I actually want for my life? And am I going to do that? And then saying, yes, I am going to do that. There's the belief internally that you can pull it off. So everyone's got a different story, everyone's got different challenges, but ultimately working with something like this that gets to the core of the limiters allows you to step through whatever your internal challenge is and then take the action that's going to make the changes in your life that's needed. So thank you, Gladius.
Namaste, brother. Love you. Alfredo, I see you came off mute too.
Yeah, a similar story to Chris. I've spent a lot of money on different coaching experiences, 10,000, 5,000. And this is actually one of the most profound things I've felt. And it's really simple. You know, he should be charging more, and he will. So like, you should definitely pick it up now when it's at this price.
Yeah. And me too, guys. Like on the, it took 25K of investing into different belief transformation programs. And then I invested another 7K on top of that, and then another 8K, like trying to condense everything that I learned into something that is simple enough for like a 10-year-old to do it. If they understand the principle, they understand the philosophy, and they have a couple of experiences going through the process, here's what it boils down to. I'm ready to let it go. I didn't see it. I didn't feel it. I don't identify with it. Bye. Donnie nodding his head. Love you, man. Thank you. And just like, can we give some love to Donnie and just really thank him sincerely for showing up, being vulnerable, being courageous. Your experience was such a gift to be able to witness, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Gladius, so much. This is truly just. I'm so excited that this has happened and that you have given me this. I'm just so excited for what's going to happen. I can't even imagine how this is going to help me. And I want to thank everybody else here that's been supporting me in this process, and just for your good vibes and your love. This has been a very wonderful supportive group. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Evan, yes. Well, I'll stick around if anyone has any other questions or reflections, feedback, etc. I don't have a hard stop after this, and I honestly feel high every time I do one of these things because I love it so much. So yeah, I'm here to support, here to chat. Anything on your mind?